Glassblowing is an art that's been practiced through history and is very intricate process that is supposed to be done in a precision laboratory. When you think of glassblowing, do you think of bowls and figures or sculptures and pictures? Because throughout history it has changed. And today I'm going to teach you the difference between modern glassblowing and ancient glassblowing, the history of glassblowing, and the science of glassblowing. When this speech is over, you will know some things you may not know about glassblowing. According to SeattleGlassblowing.com, modern-day glassblowing uses molten glass in a furnace. But in 1500 BC in Mesopotamia and Egypt, they shaped hot glass around solid cores of earth and dung. Glassblowing is a very complex science, and some people find it surprising that the evidence of it dates back so far. The American Scientific Glassblowers Society, also known as ASGS, says that a Syrian stone tablet was discovered and is believed to be the first evidence of a glassblowing instruction manual. Ancient glass vessels are very unlike glass as we know it today. They were very opaque, full of seeds and undissolved sand, and full of bubbles trapped in the melting process. The ASGS also says that the Phoenicians used blocks of soda to support their cooking vessels, and the combination of heat, sand, and soda was reported as evidence that they first discovered the magic material. So in ancient glassblowing, they usually use things that they could use for, like, they used bowls or pitchers or arrowheads when they did glassblowing. To add color, the Egyptians used dyes from flowers and desert berries that they grew. Most desert berries could not sustain the heat from the furnaces, so they just kept the opaque color that they now have today. Glassblowing requires a precision laboratory and professionals to form the glass. That's why it's so surprising that the earliest recorded evidence and use of glass was by the Egyptians. The Egyptians used it to glaze tiles and make figures and create the earliest beads. According to theglassworks.com, the glassblowing tradition was carried on in Europe from the medieval period through the Middle Ages into the Renaissance. The demise of the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. Roman rule encouraged glassblowing because that meant trade and more money for them. Glassblowing objects such as drinking vessels that imitated the shape of an animal horn were produced by the Rhine and the Meuse valleys, as well as in Belgium. Glassblowing became more prevalent after the studio glass movement. According to the Glassworks, the studio glass movement helped spread awareness of how popular glass was in stores. The glass studio movement began in 1962 when Harvey Littleton, a ceramics professor, and Dominic Labino, a chemist and an engineer, held 2 workshops at the Toledo Museum of Art, during which they started experimenting with melting glass in a small furnace and creating blown glass art. You can thank Littleton and Labino for creating such beautiful masterpieces. According to an article called Glass Science, the chemical reaction causes elasticity in the hot glass to stretch. To add color, dyed powder that causes an adhesive bond between the powder and the hot glass. According to the Glassworks, rolling the glass causes the outside to stretch and cool, by putting the glass back into the furnace, therefore making it more malleable. Once the figure is complete, it must be placed in a kiln for at least 10 hours. The reaction in the kiln causes the glass to form and stay together. This is an example of a pitcher or bowl that me and my mom got in Georgia. And this would have been, except for the color, it wouldn't have color. This would be an example of what they would make ancient times for, like, holding stuff or water or food. And then this is a figure. It's also glow in the dark. And this is what they would make in modern day times, and they use it for art and for painting and sculptures. I hope I've informed you a bit about the history and the difference between modern and ancient glassblowing and the science of glassblowing. hopefully you will take this information and go out there and buy some glass from some blown glass. Thank you.